Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me here today. We finally have this huge, absolutely massive Halo Infinite update that we've all been waiting for. And I just want to say this. I was right. I was right from the very beginning. From the first video that I made talking about that this game was delayed out of 2020 and was going to be a 2021 release. Halo Infinite is now going to be a fall 2021, and it's going to be on November 15th of 2021 for Xbox's 20th anniversary and the 20th anniversary for Halo. I said this back in that very first video. I recommend you go back and watch it if you don't believe me. I've said it in live streams since then. I was right. There, we'll just say that. All right, now, this starts off by Joseph Staten, which is very, very telling of his position in the studio. He is leading the campaign, and of course, there is a separate multiplayer lead. And we're going to go ahead, and originally, I was just going to make this a video on my own, just a short video, but there is too much in this. So we're going to go over it, and we're going to talk about it live. This better be the best Halo game ever. It's almost a full year from its original release. Yeah, well, I will take a good and fully functioning game over the best, but we'll see. We'll see about that here. So the article starts off, "Hey everyone, I'm Joseph Staten. If you've been a long time part of the Halo community, you may already know me. If you're new to the community, hello, it's great to meet you. I was part of the Bungie team who made Halo CE, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo 3 ODST, and Halo Reach. I came up for the design side of these projects, wearing many different hats over the years, including writer, cinematic director, creative director, even a voice for the grunts. After Reach shipped, I became a Halo fan, cheering on 343 from the sidelines. But I've spent the last 4 months immersing myself back into the Halo universe, and it's my honor as creative director to help our team ship Halo Infinite in fall of 2021. So he has taken the creative director lead, which, I mean, with Chris Lee leaving, that kind of makes sense. Chris Lee was essentially sidelined by him coming back. They said that he wasn't, but I mean, obviously he was. It says, yep, that's when the game is coming out. From then until now, every one of us at 343 and our great partnering teams will be building, testing, and polishing the experience we hope all of you love. I joined 343 right as the team was wrestling with feedback from the July campaign demo. This discussion boiled down to one fundamental truth. We needed more time to do things right. That included pushing hard in the fall, giving the team time to recharge over the holidays, and then coming back in January to finish the game at a healthy pace. Because Halo Infinite in the fall of 2021 is just the beginning of the adventure, and I'll be back at the end of the update for some closing thoughts. And then Brian, the community manager, takes over here. And while I don't like it, I understand. I agree with you when you say that a functioning game is preferred over the trash game that was going to be the early release. Yeah. All right. So he takes over saying, thanks, Joseph. In the months since the campaign demo, the team has been heads down working on everything from lighting to fog to wear and tear on Spartan armor, as you'll see further below. And we know the community has been eager to hear about and see the improvements and progress the team has made since July. So today, we're joined by a few members of our art and graphics teams to talk shop. All right. So it starts off here. Hi, guys. Thanks for taking the time to talk about some of the great team. Before we jump in, can you please briefly introduce yourselves? And we've got the introductions here. I'm not going to go over them. Well, I guess I probably should here. We got Nicholas, who has been a senior concept artist, director for 343 Industries since 2009. The role in the studio and within the team is actually very clear, making sure we are conveying a unified visual direction for Halo Infinite based on specific pre-established pillars that represent the backbone for the aesthetic. With the help of the 2 associate art directors, Darren and Martin, we review all assets, environments, characters, vehicles, and weapons that make it into the game from start to finish. So if you do not like the way some of these weapons look, these are the people to blame, essentially. We basically look at 3 conditions, making sure all assets fit into the gameplay needs and that they fit into the Halo aesthetic and legacy, and finally, that they look awesome. We have Neil Harrison, the director of art management at 343, working on Halo Infinite. Been managing the art team since Halo 4, and the way I would describe my role as the art director provides the artistic direction for the game, and the role as his partner is to build and manage the art team that executes on the vision, right? Of course, you'd have people that back you up. Hey there, Coffin. Hey there, Razor Edge. I hate when we have to wait another year for Infinite. It is for the best. It is for the best. Honestly, if they would have taken the time and care that they're putting into Infinite, it seems, then the MCC probably would have worked when it came out. And that is the perfect example of a rushed Halo product. And then you have, I'm going to butcher this person's name. I ain't even going to say it. They've been the development manager for the graphics team on Halo Infinite over the last 2.5 years. All the graphics engineering initiatives for this project roll through them and the teams, and they collaborate very closely with Neil and Sparth's teams for the visual fidelity of Halo Infinite. And here we have the first screenshot that they show. And this, I'm going to turn myself off for just a minute just so that you guys can see this. This looks absolutely, like, amazing. This looks, in my opinion, this looks really good. Now, who knows? This is, of course, multiplayer map work in progress. This does not look like any map that we've previously seen, so I think that this is a new map. We have, of course, the Spartan over here on the side holding what looks to be the battle rifle. And then down here, I don't know if this is a, I don't know if we can zoom in more. I don't know if this appears to be the cloak or what exactly this is. Let's scroll down and take a look at this here. This item right here in the middle. This looks to me like a cloaking module. This looks like how it was back in Halo 5, where it was just an item that you would take and like smash onto yourself so far. But I mean, it looks pretty decent. And to be honest, I'm liking the look of this. This has a very Halo Reach looking feel to me personally. And we will get a better look here at the Spartans as we move through the article. But here, let's go ahead and pop back out. And then, all right. So back in July, the teams pulled together a slice of the representative gameplay that introduced fans to the expansive nature of this new ring world, and they got the first look at the Master Chief using the grapple shot and various weaponry to take on the Banished. Despite the excitement around the gameplay, we know that they had plenty of work left to do on the art and graphics side. Can you speak a bit about the demo and the team's perspective? Let's see, what are you guys talking about over here? Loving the game so far. The map looks like it could fit in Halo 5, maybe. I mean, to me, honestly, it looks a lot like a Halo Reach type of map. It looks like one of the maps, actually, that they built in Halo Reach. I'm spacing on the name of it right now, but it had, it was like an orbital thing that was floating above Halo Reach as it was on fire. I'm spacing out on the name right now, but this is what it looks like to me. So wish they even released just multiplayer or one aspect. Have no games to play in the Series X, and was promised they should offer fans something extra. It's a possibility that they might. Yeah, it does look like a Halo Reach map. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump back in. The primary goal for the campaign demo in July was showing Halo Infinite gameplay for the first time. While that aspect generally landed as we wanted, the reality is that the art and visuals weren't at the bar that we hold for Halo, even in a work in a progress state. I mean, to be honest, going back and looking at the actual gameplay demo, not looking at the stream, because the stream looked terrible. I had to switch when I was streaming that from YouTube to Twitch just because the quality kept dropping down to like 240p, and I mean it was terrible. But if you go back and watch it either at 1080p or 1440p or 4K, the actual uploaded trailer, it looks good. They do have texture pop in, but I mean, I kind of expected that. I thought it looked personally really good. But there were people, of course, with the weapon models. Some stuff did look real plasticky and didn't really have the detail that, you know, we've become accustomed to in other games, especially in the Halo franchise. So, I mean, I could see why they would want to go back and change it. Much of the feedback that they heard from the community aligned with their own views, and the work that was already committed to doing around things like indirect lighting, material response, foliage and tree rendering, clouds, level of detail transitions, and character fidelity. Still, the feedback was humbling, and it also pushed us to take a look at additional opportunities for improvements. I mean, humbling is a word. I don't know if it's the one I would use. The meme, the Craig meme came out of that. And, I mean, while that is hilarious, you also don't... I mean, that was a kind of a bad look for the demo, for sure. To be honest, the map looks like if Titanfall and Halo Reach had a collab, but so far loving the art. Yeah, it does look pretty good, personally, I think. I mean, it is just work in progress stuff, and it could very well be taken from a PC build. But here, let's go ahead and jump back in. In reality, it is a privilege to work on a Halo game. We have such a strong community who care deeply about the Halo franchise and who we can always rely upon to provide valuable feedback on every aspect of the product. It's not always easy to hear, but we truly appreciate the community's passion, which drives us to do better. Well, that's good. I mean, they have been, in my opinion, doing better. Like I've said before, I'm trying to be less anti-343. You know, the launch of the MCC was a really long time ago, and they've improved upon it immensely since then. So, I mean, they do seem to be doing better. We will see, though, when this game comes out. July was intended as a very much work-in-progress slice of technology and a reasonable set of key features, from global illumination to dynamic time of day to GPU-driven rendering and veritable rate shading were all in active development. So they were still developing the tools and the stuff for the game when they showed it. Much of the graphics team's capacity, along with some key technical artists, was focused on achieving high resolution and performance leading up to the demo, right? You don't want to have a choppy, low-res demo, which meant that several of these features didn't quite get the level of polish and bug fixing that was warranted. Visual fidelity is a very important goal for Halo Infinite, and the graphics and the art teams have been continually aspiring and working closely with each other to create the best-looking Halo game ever. I definitely want to acknowledge the input that we got from the Halo community and our fan base. Staying open to critical feedback and looking at the areas where we can learn to do better is an inherent part of the culture at 343. Well, that is good to hear. That's what you want, right? And then I feel that them doing what they've done with the MCC, especially on PC and on the Xbox, is, I guess that's them showing their commitment to the games, I guess, you know. Internally, I remember we discussed the feedback with two key areas in mind, visual fidelity and art style. Before we get into the former, can you briefly touch on the latter and help clarify our intentions as it relates to the overall art style of Halo Infinite, right? This was a big thing. And real quick, well, let's go ahead and take a look here. This is the SPKNR rocket, and it's nice to see that this is in the game. I remember Halo 5's rocket launcher looks generic, like super generic, and I don't know if this is going to be like an area where you customize weapons, because obviously we know we're going to get the armor coatings, and those of course can be also applied to the weapons, and they're essentially weapon skins. And you can see a Spartan back here. My big thing, though, is with what they're doing with the engine, and they're talking about the graphics and everything like that. This game, don't forget, Halo Infinite is supposed to run on an original Xbox One. Now, I'm not too familiar with technical specs of the Xbox One, but from my understanding, the max resolution that thing can do is 900p. A lot of games max out on the original Xbox One and now the Xbox One S at 900p. They're upscaled to 1080p, but they're native 900. So what, like, how good is this game going to look? I guess we'll have to wait just to find out. From a player's perspective, I absolutely must mention that I have been sort of a child of Bungie's Marathon from 1994. It was the very first FPS game I got hooked on, right? Okay. To say I have been attached to the visual continuity, especially for a large franchise, I felt that Halo 5, despite many successes, didn't take player feedback enough into account, and many felt the game's visuals were deviating off course. It was vital to embed Halo Infinite with a very subtle foundations that would borrow from the past, as well as making sure that any new assets would convey a sense of legacy that would resonate with all players, old-timers and newcomers alike. Yeah, Halo 5's art style is very plasticky looking. Like, I know that they give a lot of that recently, like the Halo community, when it came to Infinite's art style, and especially with that demo, they gave 343 a lot of crap. Like, everything looks plastic. Like the battle rifle looks plastic, the assault rifle looks plastic. Like what you know. And then there were compare and contrast videos made with like the Halo Reach battle rifle, or not battle rifle. I'm sorry, the assault rifle against the new assault rifle in Halo Infinite. And the one from Halo Reach has all kind of details on it. It's scuffed up. It's got little lines. It's got details on it. Halo 5 was pretty much the same way. It may have had like textures on it, but as far as actual detail in the weapons, I mean, they're made that way for the weapon skins, and I kind of have the same feeling that's why the weapons look kind of bland in Halo Infinite. From what we saw from the gameplay demo, they're like that so that the weapon skins can, you know, give that detail, give the color and everything. So, I mean, you know, we knew it wouldn't be trivial to combine the cleaner, simpler forms of classic games like Halo 1 or 2 with the next generation requirements, and expectations of Halo Infinite. Merging both was going to be a challenge, but we stood close to our visual principles and made it work in the best way, one day at a time. We managed to find a balance of modernized visuals combined with a classic aesthetic that will definitely speak to all, and we couldn't be more proud of this. And you know what, honestly, that's, I think, what most Halo fans want. They want something that is going to be taken inspiration heavily from what the original games were when it comes to the art style, to weapons, to armor styles, to different visor. Like, we want everything to look new and improved, but still have that same type of aesthetic, you know, from previous titles. We don't. The huge backlash about Halo 4 and Halo 5's art style was because it wasn't like a gradual change. It wasn't like from Halo 4 and Halo 5, they kind of changed a little bit here and tweaked a little bit there. It was just bam, 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 like, this is what it looks like, and it looks like nothing like it did previously. So, you know, that's what was so jarring about the visual change, like, right away. There's no denying that the return to a classic art style immediately invokes unmistakable look and feel for Halo. When it comes to the visual fidelity, the teams have been making progress since July, and we can see some in the latest images we're sharing here today. Could you please talk about some of the specific areas the teams have been working on? Okay. So on the graphics technology front, we have made improvements along with bug fixes and that were inherent to some of the techniques, as well as iterating and polishing features that were still in active development. Some of the key areas of progress include better quality of global illumination, ambient occlusion, shadows, volumetric lighting, sky and atmosphere. We have also addressed issues with our GPU-driven rendering and texture streaming solutions that should mitigate the LOD popping and texture quality issues that were prevalent in the July demo. Okay, that's good. Again, how is this going to run on the original Xbox One? Or even on the Xbox One S? I have the Xbox One X, and I've got to tell you that this year's cross-gen has been terrible. From Call of Duty to Assassin's Creed, all the games, they crash, they freeze. They're not running at like the right resolution or even at the proper frame rate. I mean, they've got to really nail this cross. This is going to be one of the biggest cross-gen games to come out when it does, they have to nail it. It has to work at least somewhat of a standard across all the titles. It just has to. Halo 5's UI is probably the worst UI in the whole franchise, but it is what it is. Still broken 5 years later. I mean, honestly, the original Halo MCC UI was really bad too. That was. Okay, there is more to be done, of course. We are actively partnering with Neil and Sparth's team to drive visual quality forward from both an engineering as well as an aesthetic front. In addition to the graphics tech changes, we have made a lot of improvements for the art content side across all disciplines such as environment, lighting, weapons effects, and more. There's too much to cover here. Yeah, this is a very big update. So I'll just take you through some of the more impactful changes in my mind. Firstly, there's been a lot of work done retuning the dynamic lighting values to add much more punch and contrast to the image. These include adjustments to the sun intensity, fog atmosphere, and the addition of color grading, which did not make it into the gameplay demo. We've improved some of the materials to get more specular response, more wear and tear on weapons and vehicles, more fidelity in the characters, and more macro breakup on large surfaces like rocks, terrain, and the hex walls. We're also now getting more of our textural detail coming through the final frame thanks to the sharpening process that our graphics team has added. The offset of some of the natural blurring and temporal anti-aliasing, and it certainly helps the assets shine. We're eager to show the progress the team has made in the campaign as soon as we can, but we want to make sure that we have all the right pieces coming together. This can be tricky with a lot of moving parts in an expansive world of this scope. We know that everyone is keen to see more and look forward to sharing more in future updates as the months lead ahead. Okay, and we've also got this shot here of the sniper rifle, and of course this looks like, to me, the Halo Reach classic sniper rifle. They've really seemed to just kind of dropped Halo 5's art style and weapon design just flat. I mean, they're moving back towards more classic styles, and honestly, I mean, this looks great. This looks like the weapon that I've seen from Halo Reach to Halo 1 to Halo 2 to Halo 3. It's definitely going to be nice being able to use these classic weapons, and hopefully they bring back in some form or another the classic pistol and the classic shotgun, because they have stated before in previous updates that those weapons at that current time were not in the game and didn't have plans to go in the game. So if they're not going to have the actual weapons, at least maybe have it as a model change, or I would say a weapon skin, that they could at least put those visual effects on other weapons. Kind of like a transmog system for RPGs where you can take the look of one item or weapon or piece of armor and then apply it to something else, but it still has its original function. That'd be something that I would like to see them do. Off topic, but Activision should have waited off with Call of Duty because it's buggy and glitchy. Yes, it is. It is this is going to be a separate video, but I'll just briefly mention it here. The cutscenes in the game are completely broken on the Xbox, at least. Now, speaking of the improvements on the art/content side, one big outcome from the demo was the emergence of the now world-renowned Craig. While we in the internet have come to love Dear Craig, we know that this wasn't his best self back in July. Can you give us any updates on Craig as he stands today? Firstly, I can confirm that the facial animation on NPCs was not fully implemented in the build, which resulted in Craig's incredibly deadpan and lifeless look. All of the characters are modeled in a neutral pose prior to the blend shape and animations being applied, so poor old Craig never intended to be seen in that condition, which is not something that was evident during the gameplay. It was only later in the close-up freeze frame of his one bad moment where it came to light and the legend of Craig was born. There's been further work done on the model fidelity and the variety for brute faces. We're also working to add some hairdos and beards, which was something we hadn't gotten to in July. So whilst we have come to love our old Craig. He's certainly undergoing a significant makeover. Craig isn't the only model to see improvements, though. There have been significant changes to other characters and 3D models as we continue to evolve and polish our content, some of which can be seen in the Spartan and weapon renders being shared today. I mean, honestly, like, everything that they're talking about that wasn't working and isn't ready, how could they have ever thought that they were going to launch this game in November? Like, even showing that demo, knowing, like, oh man, this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work. Like, how did they ever think that, oh, yeah, no, it's fine, we'll have it. It's like rushing to get homework done as you're walking into class with your book, you're writing, I could get it done, hold on, let me, like, there's no way that this was going to be done in time. There's no way. But let's go ahead and take a look here. We've got this, again, we're still on the same map, but we've got this Spartan here, and this looks like he has been caught in the middle of a sprinting animation here. And again, this is very Halo Reach inspired. That's a Halo Reach helmet. That's a Halo Reach shoulder pad. Like, this is essentially, this is maybe a Halo Reach multiplayer free to play. That'd be, interesting to see. But I mean, this looks like Halo Reach. He even has a Halo Reach chest piece on. He's holding the battle rifle. Here, let's zoom in a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, this is a Halo Reach armor, unless it's like a themed set. This is a Halo Reach armor set. Battle rifle, chest piece. I forget what the names of these are called. But yeah, the shoulder and the helmet, that is 100% Halo Reach. Yeah, I do mean this here in December. It does. Hey there, Bob. Yep, this certainly is. This is Halo Infinite, though. This is what we've been waiting on. We've been dying to see multiplayer, and this is what it is. It looks a lot like Halo Reach. All right. Yeah, it is definitely good. Do you mind lens flare being used in Halo Infinite? Not so much, no. As of today, we're providing the first glimpses of an interior space via one of Halo Infinite's work-in-progress multiplayer maps. From a content and graphics perspective, how is the approach similar and different when it comes to the look and feel? These more intimate, traditional spaces versus the open and expansive outdoor environments. From a graphics technology perspective, the majority of the rendering pipeline and rendering techniques shared between the interior and exterior spaces are very similar shading models, shading algorithms, and post-processing effects are used in either case. Where the primary differences come into play is sheer density of content in the expansive outdoor environment and the challenges that brings in authoring the content at scale, and then at runtime, efficiency, streaming, and all that data rendering in it at a smooth 60 frames per second at high resolutions. Another difference that is unique to the exterior environments in seamless time of day, which requires more global illumination approach, along with providing various knobs to the control and the elements of lighting, sky and atmospherics, and the color grading as time progresses. This is the first time that a game in the Halo franchise has to tackle either of these challenges, so the team had to spend a lot of cycles building and optimizing the engine toolchain functionality to facilitate this experience for Halo Infinite. At a high-level approach, the process are very similar between the two. They go through the same stages of construction and polish for modeling, texturing, lighting, and they're always building assets in a modular way that facilitates their reuse for different scenarios. So it seems like the engine that they're using is very easy to use, the way that they're describing, the way they just kind of turn knobs and check this and change that and adjust that, which is a huge change from the Halo engine previously. So it is nice that Slipspace allows them to essentially just kind of build the game that they need. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but I believe November for November 21. That is what I said earlier. That I believe there. I think it's Shosky that I do think they're going to launch on the 20th anniversary, 100%. I said that originally when they just announced that they were delaying it. I just kind of had that feeling. Because, I mean, they're going to have that whole marketing push of 20 years of Xbox, 20 years of Halo, celebrating Halo Infinite. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if they had like a Halo-themed Xbox Series, whatever, S or X console branded with the logo and maybe a color. So that'd be really interesting to see there. Let's see here. There's something really cool about the juxtaposition between the intimate and expansive spaces in Halo, and whilst they each offer different challenges, they should bring a nice balance to the variety of the experience. Let's see here. The extra time has already yielded progress on the visual fidelity front, but we're still not done. Can you talk about some of the remaining priorities and work that the team is focused on? On the graphics engineering side, we have a team that is continuing to polish up the last bits of feature work on lighting, global illumination, atmospherics, and we're also iterating very closely on Neil's teams, making sure that our content creators can take full advantage of the cool technologies we have built over the last couple of years. I'm assuming content creators are talking about the other developers for the games. Another group of graphics developers is staying head down on optimizing the end-to-end rendering pipeline so that we can deliver a great experience on resolution and performance across all targeted platforms to the players. So that's good. Again, I am super interested to see how this is going to run on the Xbox One S, much less the original fat Xbox. That's going to be super interesting to see. Halo 3 anniversary. I mean, at the time, yeah, it was nice to talk about. That don't see that happening anytime soon. How many Halo games would be made at 50 years from now? Halo 25. 343 doing their best to make sure people can't get hyped for Halo Infinite. I mean, they're going to have to completely restart everything. The marketing for the candy and the food and potato chips and cookies and Butterfinger, all that stuff obviously was set for the November release, and then, you know, I'm wondering what they're going to have for the release leading up to it. You know, for now, I'm almost 100%. It would be such a huge missed opportunity if 343 and Microsoft do not release this on the 20th anniversary of Halo. Like, it is such a huge missed opportunity. So hopefully that's what I assume they're going for. We've made significant improvements to our foliage, trees, grass, both in terms of rendering, fidelity, and how we can maintain that over distance. But this is another area still being worked on, and fidelity will further improve. We're excited to show you as soon as we're able to bring things together and showcase the work in the best light. Now, there was a story that went out, something that I hadn't had a chance to cover yet, that 343 and Microsoft have been saying that they were getting Halo Infinite prepped for E3 for 2021. And now this makes sense, knowing that it's going to be launching in the holiday season of 2021. I expect the next footage that we're going to get, the actual in-game gameplay, is going to be at E3. I would be surprised if they might drop a story trailer, like another one, maybe about a month or so before E3 in May. But I would 100% expect multiplayer reveal and everything else happening again probably in June. Yeah, November 15th would be it's got, that has to be the date. Again, if it's not, that's just such a huge missed opportunity. But anyway, thank you for diving into the visual fidelity for the work the team has been focused on. Any final words or pairing thoughts to share? Just like to thank everyone for reading the update. They appreciate the continued support for Halo, and again, for all the feedback the community provides. To know that people care so much about the Halo franchise is a huge motivator to all of us at 343, and we are working tirelessly to deliver the best possible Halo experience to you all. I'd also like to state how proud I am of the team, right? Working under unprecedented challenges and difficulties of the times, and they're excited to be able to share more with us soon. It's awesome to see how much the community cares about the visual fidelity of the beloved franchise. I mean, Hidden Xperia himself, another huge Halo YouTuber, has made, at this point, it has to be dozens of videos covering the art style changes and why the original art style is better in his opinion, than what 343 has been doing with Halo 4 and Halo 5. And those videos get hundreds of thousands of views. So, I mean, yeah, people care. They've known about this for years. For years, they've known about it. We are continuing to work hard building towards something that will be very proud of the fan base, and that's something they will hopefully love. We look forward to sharing more in the coming months. All right, I'm going to skip over this last little bit here. The teams have been fully focused on improving communication between tech, art, and it's giving a fantastic result. Obviously, they all can't wait to share more. So now we're getting into live and customization. So I'm assuming they're talking about Xbox Live or their live team for what they're going to be adding for the multiplayer. I think Joe Staten was a good move, but I'm worried. But it worried me for the game because they needed a Halo veteran to help them with the game, with all the developers leaving after the gameplay reveal. Yeah, well, when they saw the reaction to what the gameplay reveal was, and they missed the deadlines that they were working towards, those employees had to be replaced. I've made another video in a previous live stream. I was talking about how they need to go in after Halo Infinite ships and completely reevaluate everybody on the 343 team, and for just try to get everything boiled down to get the employees and people working with the studio, get them what's the phrase I'm looking for, essentially make sure that they're doing their job. Because with the leaders, Chris Lee, obviously he's gone. He's been with Halo for a very long time. I was actually watching a behind-the-scenes documentary with Halo 2, and they mentioned Chris Lee. And I don't know if it's the same one, but I assume that it is. So, I mean, he's been with the studio or helping with Halo for that amount of time. And the point is that if you're not doing your job, or you're not providing your team with the tools to get the job done, then yeah, they go into 343, reevaluate employees, either reprimand them and get the issues fixed, or they need to be replaced. And they seem to be going the replacement route by bringing in other people. All right here. We are going to talk about what designing the live game of Halo Infinite with free-to-play multiplayer, armor customization. Without further ado, let's dive into the Q&A with the team. Thank you so much for joining us to represent the live team. Since the first time you're both talking about Halo Infinite publicly, I wanted to give you a chance to introduce yourselves. So we've got Ryan. He is the design director for the live team. That means he's focused on the overall live team strategy and planning, ensuring that they meet goals as a studio. What a live game has is a strong direction and plan, while ensuring that the team has the agency and focus to react to feedback and improve. I'm consistently meeting with others across the studio and the Xbox team. They're always looking to ensure the clearest roadmap and the path forward. Didn't they confirm there will be a flight now? Yes, so we are getting to that. They are going to be flighting Infinite, which is super exciting. I was holding that till the end here, but yeah, that is something worth mentioning. They are going to have the flight, which is a big deal, which is a really big deal. We don't know when it is, but I'm assuming that it's going to be probably, we'll say the game's going to launch in November, anywhere between 6 to 7 months before, so possibly in June during E3, after E3. We'll find out, obviously, as more news comes out later on next year. But yeah, they definitely did do that. So imagine Flood DLC, but it comes in a separate game, so they're able to put an M rating. Right, I think Halo Infinite will be rated M, but we'll get into that a little bit later on. Thanks for having us. I'm Ryan. I'm design director. Oh yeah, we already read that. My experience as a Halo fan, I'll never forget the E3 trailer. Right. Not to skip over this, but yeah. Essentially, these people are introducing themselves, and they are very passionate about Halo and working with the live team here. So let's go ahead and take a look at this next photo. And this is going to be a render in work in progress build here. And this looks more Halo 5-ish, to be honest. This is the Scorpion Punch armor coating. A little bit weird. It's just red and black with a red arm. This almost looks like the N7, the Mass Effect armor with the red coming down the shoulder and on the top of the helmet here. But yeah, this looks very Halo 5-ish. It's got kind of a funny looking helmet, and then you've got this shoulder piece here. What do we got? Some weird little things on the side here and across the chest. We've got what looks like binoculars on the hip, so I'm wondering if maybe you're going to be able to equip like just like hip cosmetics again. Again, that is a very Halo Reach thing. And yeah, they're showing this here. Again, we don't know if these are PC. We don't know if this is taken off an Xbox dev. But let's go ahead and we'll jump back here. What does the live team do? In other words, what are the team's responsibilities and how do they contribute to the overall game? You know, we've been doing this for a long time, and answering this succinctly, given the shifting roles in the coverage live takes on, it's kind of daunting. The live team takes a meta role in the contributions, and that the content tends to bridge experiences. Think of things like challenges and progressions, customization, achievements, etc. There's no one area of the game that these belong to or work to support. Their best functions support players in all ways that they choose to play. Do we think 343 will be more open now, or do you think they will just be quiet again? Personally, just given from what I've read here and the way Sketch has been talking on Twitter, they're going to have, I guess, regular updates. I don't know. I don't think they actually defined how regular it's going to be. If they're going to have regular, like weekly, or once a month, or once every couple of months. But they have said that they are going to be more vocal and talk to the community about the game. They even say that here, I think, later on, which we'll get to eventually. But here it says, after we see Halo Infinite launch, we'll be shift a bit more monitoring. After we see Halo Infinite launch, we'll shift a bit more to monitoring the state of the game and ensuring that we react appropriately, which is essentially, does the game break, or is there a weapon that's way too powerful? Not only is this working with our friends in the community team, but with analytics, ongoing with user research, etc., to ensure that the team knows what we're working on and what's not, or to know what's working and what's not. This means that we'll have a direct partnership with you, the players, that we'll use to improve the game experience together over the lifetime of the game. Lastly, we're working across the studio to form the long-term roadmap for Halo Infinite. What should players look forward to each season? We'll be partnering with the community to plan how the game is going to grow and evolve over time. And then how do we work with you to ensure that our roadmap can be communicated effectively? I'm sure I've missed or glossed over a lot, but that's basically it. And CB replies, I think the live team's main job is to give the player goals outside of getting the next kill. We have great teams working on gunplay, the maps, the modes, the moment-to-moment of the multiplayer dance, and the epic campaign. Our team works to bring all these separate experiences together into one cohesive Halo experience at launch, and that continues to build on that and evolve it into the future. Thanks for laying that out. It sounds like you've got your hands quite... Thanks for laying that out. It sounds like you've got your hands in quite a few cookie jars as you look to all of those aspects of the game. How do you approach each of them as a designer? So yeah, the live team were involved with almost every area of the game in one way or another. Everything from marketing to multiplayer to sandbox to esports to teams both internal and external. These are all the partners. There are a lot of gear shifting and perspective shifts throughout the day. The easiest way for us to work across all these experiences is to ensure that we are all focused on the same principle and pillars. These serve both as general starting points for the design and decision making, but also as a razor to cut and hone the creative vision and ensure that we're building content and systems that we feel deserve to be in Halo Infinite. This sounds like just a massive job. Like, you go in and you never know what you're going to be doing. Given the roles, Chris and I have different focus areas, so we're going to vary a bit here. I'll talk about the strategic pillars the live team has formed and continues to refine. We're some of the biggest fans of Halo, so it wasn't hard for us to build our founding principles in building the game. Healthy engagement is paramount. They want to maintain player-first focused, unambiguous value, always be listening, learning, and experimenting. And tactically, we take the above pillars and look to a few others in our day-to-day, how we position rewards and what we make. They provide value combined with the engagement pillars. We want to be clear about how to earn rewards. Most of all, we want to bring the best set of cosmetic-only rewards to Halo. We want great-looking assets and ways to show that Spartan off. We want players to get close to their Spartan and spend time swapping parts and pieces. It has been said before, and it's important to restate, no loot boxes, no randomness in rewards. That is a huge deal. Huge deal. With Halo Infinite having the rec packs, but those are finally gone. One of my favorite weapons in Halo of all time is the Halo 2 battle rifle. That went into Halo Infinite years ago. And I played and played and played and played. And then when I was done, I played some more to try to unlock that weapon out of a rec pack to be able to use. And I never got it. Never got it. Yeah, I'm really glad that the challenges aren't forgotten either. Those definitely, especially the way that they do that the little unlock thing, is very satisfying. Allow player expression. We want everyone to build their dream Spartan. We are always looking for more ways to customize in-game personas and give the players options, except for obviously colors, because they did take away primary and secondary colors, so that doesn't make any sense. But okay. My team knows our long-term players have favorites that they love and may have had for 2 decades. We want to make sure that Halo Infinite players will be able to get their old favorites as well as new favorites at launch as we expand over the months post-launch. Much like MCC, I want to bring everything to Infinite eventually. I wonder what that means. I want to circle back with a note on our pillars and the structure of the title. Halo Infinite multiplayer being free-to-play has demanded that we examine how we want to build and release content, and has also influenced everything that they've just talked about. There are certain places where there's going to move away from the approach seen in the Halo's legacy and trying something new, but always, and that's in caps, keeping in mind the goalpost above. Seeing a lot of the pillars and prioritizing the experience definitely makes most people happy. Both it makes that guy happy as a community manager and a fan. One thing you mentioned that stood out was that things may change because Halo Infinite's multiplayer is going to be free to play. We've touched on it lately and is getting pretty big questions in the community. But will that apply to customization? If so, how do you make those changes while staying true to your design pillars? I don't care if it's not loot boxes. I don't care if they're only cosmetic. I have to pay for my armor color, and that's bad game design. You know, they are going to be selling character skins, and if they would give you back, or if they didn't take away the original ability to customize primary and secondary colors, yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you. That's not something, I'm still against that. As much as cool as this stuff sounds, and as, I guess, rewarding as earning this stuff is going to be, they should not have taken away primary and secondary still. But this is a great question. We think about it all the time. We see in here the current concerns of the community, specifically right now, around coatings. Look at that. We're talking about it right now. And we look to our system to make sure that we're doing the right thing for both players and their ability to represent themselves, as well as what is right for a free-to-play service-driven title. Being free-to-play does mean that there will be some premium cosmetics, but players will still obtain tons of customization content through things like playing campaign, challenges, skills, special events, legacy rewards such as the Halo 5 SR 152, the progression system, and more. We will always provide value for pure engagement and simply playing the game. We want to believe that providing value isn't exclusive monetary transactions, as it's also about making sure you're properly rewarded for the time you're investing in the game. And players that play for free will be able to unlock items across a multitude of different customization types to allow them to represent themselves in-game. Halo 5 did not do a great job at rewarding the most engaging players, SR-152s. That is a little bit of an understatement, but it is most certainly true. So they've added a few tokens of appreciation to Halo Infinite to make up for that. Below you can see 2 of those tokens in the form of exclusive armor coatings and weapon coatings. We've also used our learnings there to better the structure, structure the player rewards in Halo Infinite. So I am assuming that what we're looking at here is the reward for SR-152 for both players and the weapon here. And I mean, I gotta say, it looks really cool. But at the same time, I can't shake the fact that I should have just been able to customize black, white, and red. Maybe not to the extent that they have, with it being up in like the back ends of the Spartan armor, or even as much for like the weapon skin, but I don't know. Something about that it still doesn't just feel right to me. Well, I guess it's time to play more Halo 5. Maybe it's time to just jump back in and play. I mean, we have essentially a year, a little less than a year. Ultimately, we want to make something that all of our players respect and love by staying true to our pillars above. Yeah, blah, blah. You mentioned coatings specifically, which have turned over some heads in the past few weeks. Let's talk about this a bit more. Can you elaborate on what coatings are and why they're in Halo Infinite? The coating system is something that the live team and the 3D artist designed directly after Halo 5 and is part of the overall customization picture. In previous Halo titles, we had a series of inputs that were simple RGBs and primary and secondary channels. For Halo Infinite, we didn't feel that flat colors in a single pattern were good enough. The coding system allows us to define color, wear and tear patterns, materials on a region-by-region basis on a Spartan or anything in the game, be it armor, weapons, vehicles, or even environmental elements like fuel barrels. To get to the design vision, they needed to make an exceedingly difficult decision to move away from that system that was in the game from the early days, primary and secondary color. The decision was not made lightly, but it has laid the foundation for the greater detail and variation when it comes to color customization. Okay, so they're essentially explaining why they changed, but that doesn't mean that you have to charge for it. Here we've got a look at another Spartan, and it looks like he's in some kind of pose. This is the SMG. He is holding the SMG, so that is confirmed now, I guess, to be in the game. I don't know if it had been before, but it is certainly confirmed now. It is in the game, and I mean, it doesn't look bad. It looks like kind of almost like the Halo 5 SMG, maybe a modified version of the Halo 2 SMG. But yeah, here we go. I mean, yeah. We've got what looks like an army pattern customization here for this Spartan. He's got, looks like a couple of grenades and shotgun rounds here for a hip customization. Kind of an odd chest customization piece, but that's, well, whatever. We've got the Spartan 7 helmet with a green visor in it. So, I don't know. Again, I don't feel right that they should be charging for some of it. At least give us basic patterns of like red, green, the basic standard color wheel that we had, at least to have just a primary color and then lock the other ones. I don't know. Personally, I don't know. Isn't that the Bulldog? Honestly, I don't know. I don't think the Bulldog had like a handle at the end of it. That looks like the Halo SMG, but I could be wrong about that. In addition to getting better variation, we can also create coatings much faster than we could create weapon skins for Halo 5, which will allow for even better variation over time. Additionally, with coatings now being their own customization options, we can use them as rewards for players to accomplishments, or even create bespoke ones for certain occasions. Lastly, coatings use smaller digital footprint and let us add new ones into the game without massive patches or taking up tons of disk space, which was a learning from Halo 5. Yeah, Halo 5 is a like 105 gigabyte game. It's huge. 343 blew it. They should have had Halo as a launch title like they promised. They would be dominating the market if they did. Honestly, I don't know. There's a lot of competition for Halo, for first-person shooters right now. You've got Call of Duty, which we talked about earlier, which is kind of broken, but it's Call of Duty. You've got Destiny 2 that came out earlier in the month, last couple of months, I think it was last month. And then you have Cyberpunk coming out in like 2 or 3 days. It would have been a huge game, but I think moving their release to next year, when essentially all they're going to be going up against is a Call of Duty that we know of, then, I feel like maybe they have less competition in the first-person shooter market. But yeah, let's take a dive back in here. This is a huge article. We're almost at the end, though. We've almost made it through. We've been streaming now for an hour going over this is huge, massive thing here. Coatings are a part of the customization picture, but okay, let's see here. We have looked at the system, we understand the concern, and our recent value balancing pass, which was a direct result of community feedback around coatings. We have looked hard at how many coatings are in a starting set and how many and what quality are unlocked via engagement versus other systems. Coatings are one part of the customization picture, but we feel all up we hit our goal for player representation by offering more possibilities across the entire system. While this does mean losing some player control, it increases the depth of customization that can be achieved internally that you can ultimately show off public. Okay, so I mean, essentially, I just want to see this now. I want to see what this looks like. They've talked about how great it is and how amazing it is for not only like the way that it looks, but the fact that it takes up less digital space, which are going to be, keeping the file sizes low. Show me what it looks like and show me how often and how easily some of this stuff is rewarded. Because, I mean, if you jump into a game and you play one match and it's like, okay, here's a blue armor coating, plain black and blue, and then you play another one and it's here's red, and you play another one and it's here's green. You know what I mean? Like, how often are they just going to be passing these things out? Which it seems like they've been consistently evaluating. So hopefully they're able to get it in a very rewarding way. Because honestly, with games coming out, I mean, Call of Duty is, again, it's a very popular shooter. Even Fortnite, they reward players a lot. And they give you XP for just doing the most mundane things. Like, I walked into a new area that I had never been in Fortnite, and it just leveled up the whole battle pass. And I'm like, okay, wow, that was, I mean, all I literally did was just run through an area, and they're giving me huge amounts of XP for it. So they're going to have to compete with that, especially being free to play. While they're going to want to have things that just, give you a lot of XP, they're also going to want to make the things that, like, the stuff that you're earning the customization for, they're going to have to make it accessible to a lot of people. And depending, I mean, if it's going to be free to play, I actually just had this realization right now. If it's going to be a free-to-play multiplayer game, I don't think it's going to be rated M. I don't think it's going to be rated M because if little Johnny can go in and just download Halo multiplayer for free, they're not going to have it be this, like, violent game. Which, I mean, Halo wasn't really all that violent in the past. And the fact that the previous, like, MCC titles were all rated M, maybe they didn't really deserve an M rating. But it's not. I don't think this game's going to be rated M, specifically for the fact with the multiplayer being free to play. Or they're going to have it a lot like Halo 5, where, like when enemies died before and were on the ground, if you ran over and shot them, you would have like a blood splatter effect. I don't think that's probably going to be like how it was with Halo 5, where that is just gone. But we'll find out. We will find out eventually. Thank you for providing some extra insight there. I'm excited to see how the coding system can benefit armor, weapon, vehicle customization. Now, speaking of armor customization options, we've teased Halo Reach levels of customization before. Can you tell us what that actually means in regards to Halo Infinite Armor? And we've been seeing Halo, the armor that we've been going over here, and it's very, very Halo Reach inspired. I'm very upset Fortnite will have a Master Chief. Honestly, I'm kind of excited about it. I mean, I understand the stigma against Fortnite, and I know why people don't like it. There are things about it that I don't like, and it's not a game that I play regularly. But you can betcha that if they're going to have a $20 Master Chief skin with the cosmetic items that go with that, with a back thing, and then having the harvesting item and the glider being that, and maybe even possibly like menu music, I will spend $25 or $20 on it and get it for when I do play it. That is something that I am excited for, and it's a way for them to kind of tap into that market, the free-to-play market, and be like, hey guys, here's Halo, check this out. And then when the game does come out, people are like, oh yeah, I saw that skin, or I bought that skin in Fortnite. Yeah, sure, I'll download the multiplayer and check it out, and hopefully, maybe they get hooked, maybe they don't, but it's definitely a good marketing tool. All right. One way to look at the inventory systems to look at their breadth and depth. How many things can I customize and how many choices do I have within? Reach allowed players a lot of individual customization on a single armor suit, with each type having many options. We knew we had to return to that level, but also do more, of course. To tell me Reach customization is both the options helmet, helmet attachment, left shoulder pad, right shoulder pad, as well as a number of individual assets. Which here, let's go ahead and, is it this one? That's this one. We'll take a look here at this image, and this is Halo Reach armor. I mean, you've got the buckler for the wrist. You've got the boots. I mean, the shoulders, the chest. This is a Halo Reach armor set. You can recreate this in Halo Reach right now, essentially. So, I mean, it's Halo Reach. Which makes me think, and we went over this a while back, there were screenshots, very blurry screenshots that leaked. I even covered in a video talking about it being a Halo Reach, or a Halo Infinite multiplayer leak. They looked a lot like this, and I really think that they were real at that point, because, I mean, just look at the armor, and it's essentially exactly the same as it was in that leak. But here, let's go ahead and hop back in here. To dial it in a little, the geo that could be changed or added for Reach was the helmet attachment, chest, gear, shoulder pads, left, right, knee guards, wrist, utility, as well as visor color, and these will all be back and go further. Personally, I've always loved visors, and we have a surprise to show soon. Ooh. I understand that there is a level of being vague that is unconscionable, and I am writing that line hard, but we want to save some surprises for later. I understand that. I knew the team was cooking up some awesome stuff, but I was really impressed when I saw all these options for the first time. The best part is that we're only talking about armor customization there. You've been working to add deeper personalization elsewhere, right? Are you able to elaborate on those right now too? As Chris mentioned, we're going to be vague for a bit longer. I just know that there's still tons to talk about between now and the launch of next fall. We're showing some cool Spartan customization armors in this update, but we're not done showing players what they can do. Likewise, players have seen coatings for weapons and vehicles. They know about that, but that's not all they'll be able to customize there either. And there's the things that don't fall into these three areas that players will be able to get via engagement and premium paths too. We have a lot to talk about. When it's time for the hype train to leave the station, we'll be sure we're on it, with briefcase full of information and screenshots. I think I lost the metaphor. Alright then, keep your secrets for now, and we'll get to chatting about everything the Life Team has been working on later in due time and even greater in depth. Thank you again for taking the time to chat with us. Are there any closing words you'd wish to impart on the community before we wrap up? First off, I'd like to thank the community for allowing us this platform. It's super important for everyone at 343 that began with open and honest conversation with our community and start talking about what we are and what we do and how we're going to make Halo Infinite great. We want to begin forming the relationship with players and the two-way discussions that we'll have well past released. You mentioned it. There's been some heat recently in some areas. We've decided to make changes, which armor coatings for sure. We'll be able to have more discussion with a little bit of content in the studio releases. We'll see what the community is saying. I lurk Reddit and the Waypoint forums like a madman, and we'll talk about them almost every day. We work to improve. We're going to learn, iterate, and evolve as time goes on, but I can promise that everyone here at 343 will make the best Halo game that we can. says we're out there listening. We take it all to heart. We cannot act on every single suggestion or idea, but do make sure that we are plotting the courses forward for the best experience. I look forward to talking about more specifics and getting the team here to show off what they're working on. There's great stuff coming. The launch is only the beginning. The live team is already plotting course for post-launch beats, and we look forward to partnering with the community on our mutual journey that will evolve and grow with Halo Infinite. To round up a little, no loot boxes, no randomness or items or influence in the sandbox or gameplay. Ryan and I and the whole live team, we are dedicated to delivering a wonderful experience and are going to supply a great content for what we've seen so far with our partner promotions. Is just a small amount, and there is great and cooler stuff to be revealed and talked about. And then they show off this Spartan here, which all of this stuff looks really good. Like, there hasn't been a screenshot that I've seen that I'm like, I don't like that. Like, I think all of this stuff really looks fantastic. We've got the battle rifle here, the classic battle rifle. I cannot say enough. The very first time I saw the battle rifle in Halo 5, I saw that and was like, like, oh, this is ugly looking. I mean, with the hollow scope and everything, I just remember just seeing that and being like, oh my goodness, this is one of the ugliest looking guns. What did they do to my boy? You know, my boy, what did they do to they butchered my boy. Like, it's nice to see this classic gun the way that it should be. Not that they can't change or tweak the way certain things look, but I was fine with the Halo 4 battle rifle with the square scope and everything. I thought it looked pretty cool. But Halo 5's battle rifle is just, it's a hideous looking weapon. But here we have the classic weapon. We've got great looking armor. This is, again, it's very Halo Reach inspired looking, which is nice to see them take inspiration from. These boots look a little different. I don't know if they're different than what we've seen before, or if just the different angle or the way that it's sitting. But yeah, these look more like boots than they do previously. And of course, yeah, everything else looks pretty good. This is Carter's shoulder piece. All right, let's jump back in here. We're going to be coming up here towards the end here. They're giving back the article over to the creative director, Joseph Staten, and this is pretty much how he closes out the article. It says, I'm fortunate to have worked with an incredibly talented teams my whole career. The Infinite team is no exception. Folks here just don't understand Halo. They love the core gameplay and characters and community and everything that makes Halo Halo just as much as I do. And like me, they also feel a deep responsibility to serve. We aren't making this game for us, we're making it for you. Starting with this update, we're going to be sharing more about what we're doing and most importantly, why we're doing it. So here are a few things he'd like to share. His first week on the job, he played the entire campaign twice. I was, in a word, stunned in the best way possible, and what the team has done, Infinite is by far the most expansive and vertical Halo world ever. Why did the team do this? Because they understand that wonder and freedom are key to the Halo experience. So he's played through the campaign. So technically the campaign is done. It's done. And he's played through it twice. I could feel the classic Halo 30 seconds of fun beating at the heart of Infinite's world, but I never felt more powerful, more mobile, or more in command of a rich set of tactical choices. This was the Halo that they imagined back in 2000 finally come to life after 20 years of technical and creative innovation. Okay, so right now he's just kind of promoting the team in the game. Sure, there were bugs in the build, and there was clearly more work to do, but this concept art by Martin, I'm not going to say his last name. I'm going to butcher it, but there it is. One of the many incredible pieces he's made for the game. So yeah, we're going to look at this here. Zoom out here just so that we can get a good look. And this is concept art. For a minute when I first saw this, I thought this was in-engine, but it's not. I guess it's just concept art. Looks really good. I think it looks nice. Again, it is a cool piece of art. It encompasses all the excitement and curiosity and joy felt playing through Zeta Halo, the most mystery, dangerous, and possibly rich place in the entire Halo universe. Everywhere I looked, he saw choices. Do I explore off the Golden Path, assault the Banished, war base guarding the Valley Pass, follow a flight of Forerunner sentinels into an unexpected cavern, rescue a squad of Marines dug in and desperate halfway up the mountain, or do I keep pulling the mainline story threads that feel epic and intimate at the exact same time? Truly, Halo Infinite is a world in which I love spending time in and I'm thrilled to return to, both as a designer and a player. On behalf of the entire team, thank you for your patience, your passion. Can't wait for you to join us on the Halo Infinite adventure, first with Insider Flighting, later next year, and when we ship in fall of 2021. So we've made it through this huge article. We've been streaming now for about an hour, 10 minutes, and we've gone through it. We've discussed it. They've finally put the flight back in. They weren't going to have it, and then they decided to have it, I guess. And I'm looking super forward to, because I'm hoping that I get in on the flighting. I've been in before and every other flight for the MCC, and I would love to be able to get in and try this. So hopefully I do get that opportunity, and if I do, I of course will make the content for you guys, and I will share it with you as long as I'm allowed. Some of the times with the flights, very early on, they did have NDAs that you weren't allowed to share anything up until a certain point. So hopefully they do that, and it's not just like 3 months before. Hopefully this is like a June, May type of deal, and we can get in and try everything out. And I mean, yeah, personally, like, I've always been hyped for this game, especially since they've been showing stuff, and I'm looking forward to it now. I hope you guys are looking forward to it later as well. This has been a very, very long live stream, so I would like to thank you guys for joining me here with this article. But yeah, I mean, what do you all think? How excited for you guys are this? Before, I kind of, to be honest, lost a lot of my hype. Some of it's back here, being able to read through all this stuff, and knowing that they're going to have a flight is something that kind of brings the hype back too. We've got this huge info dump. I mean, it's just... I might make a more condensed version of this later on. Just because, again, this has run for an hour now. But yeah, looking forward to it. The multiplayer looks essentially like it's going to be Halo Reach, which I have no complaints about. Reach is in my top 3 of the Halo multiplayers. Shots, I miss the space diapers. Yeah, George definitely lost weight with him saying that. The most 7-year-olds during Halo 3 could do is scream insults. Now they'll be saying cringe memes. The release date there, Tanner, if you're still here in the stream, we don't know the exact release date. They've just said that it's going to be fall of 2021. Personally, I honestly think it's going to be November 15th of 2021, the 20th anniversary of Xbox and Halo. That would be, of course, huge. My favorite Halo multiplayer is probably Halo 2 Anniversaries. I would say Halo 2 Classic, but that hasn't really been ported over in a way that's functional the way that it used to be. But yeah, Halo 2 Anniversary is probably my favorite. It is what I was hoping back in the day that Halo 5's multiplayer would be more like, where the gameplay, like the main character traits and player traits all remain the same, but the way that they innovated was through different weapons and multiplayer maps. But that, of course, wasn't what they ended up doing. Come on. But, I would like to thank all of you guys here for joining me today. I wanted to get on and talk about this right away. And the best thing to do it, of course, was a live stream. I will probably have a more condensed version of this coming out later on, so if you guys want to keep up for that, keep an eye out for that. That'll be coming out as well. I am going to go ahead and leave you guys here. This was a very unplanned live stream, very last minute, but I would like to thank all of you for joining me, whether you're watching this live or on demand. If you guys did enjoy it, please give this a thumbs up. This will help push this information out to more people. It'll help grow the channel. It'll help the video do well. And I would, of course, greatly appreciate it as well. But until next time, everyone, I would like to thank all of you guys for joining me here today. And I'll see all of you guys in the next video.